You remember a couple of weeks ago when I built everything in the Minecraft Construction Handbook? Well, I decided I hadn't tortured myself enough and decided to purchase the Combat Handbook. Wasn't too expensive, only like £3. I decided to buy the updated edition again, seeing as I built the updated Construction Handbook. Oh, what a mistake that was. When the handbook arrived, I gave it a little flick through and wondered how this is actually going to help me beat the game. But I suppose we'll have to go page by page until we have enough information. Let's get to work. Make sure to subscribe because this is the second time I'm choosing to suffer for entertainment value. We start with the basic weapons, including the sword, bow and arrow, dispenser, flint and steel, lava bucket and TNT. First explains to me the sword with this lovely graph with all its stats. As someone who totally just started playing Minecraft today, it is a good thing that they gave me all the sword recipes, otherwise I'd be stuck. It didn't tell me to go mining beforehand, just informs me that diamond is the best but rare and to make a sword out of the best material I have. But I am going to need resources for this book, so I went on a little expedition, which turned into a 4-hour mining trip. Along the way, I crafted myself each different rarity of the sword until I made my way to diamond. Strongest sword in the whole game. Did you know that you can use an anvil to rename and repair your sword? So I made myself one of them, and as the book suggests, named it the Sword of Doom. The main advantage of a bow and arrow is that unlike the sword, you can use it from a distance and keep out of range of your enemy's attack. Does it actually only take a second to reload your bow? I swear when I'm fighting with that thing, it takes a million years to reload. Okay, that was at least 1.5 seconds. Turn to pages 48 to 53 for more information on enchanting. Oh, thank goodness they're not making me do enchanting after defeating the Ender Dragon, because between you and me, I've gone through this book already and I was afraid of them putting it all the way at the back. I had enough diamonds for an enchanting table, but I had to run around looking for sugarcane and cows for the rest. It's always a weird thing when you have more diamonds than leather. Quick question for those who own the original handbook. Lapis was only required for enchanting from 1.8 onwards, so did the original handbook show the table without it? Or was the original handbook created after 1.8 released in September 2014? Let me know in the comments. Before we do any enchanting, let's go back to the start of the book and finish off the basic weapons. I created a dispenser and aimed it at my target like the book said to do. I already collected a lava bucket when I was down in the caves, but I made sure to keep a water bucket in my hotbar in case of any accidental fires. Another question for original handbook owners. Did the OG handbook come out before or after they renamed sulfur to gunpowder? It's interesting to see the actual changes to the book, seeing as in my last handbook video I was told the only thing that was updated was the pixel art builds. Whatever, let's use my flint and steel, also part of the basic weapons, to annihilate an enemy base. We move on to armor. It shows the 5 types of armor in the game. Leather, gold, chainmail, iron, and diamond. There are no other armors in this game. Now the appropriate thing to do is collect each set of armor, but screw that. I don't have enough diamonds for a full set of diamond armor and I'm content with that. In addition to that, I refuse to go searching for a full set of chainmail armor because you know how often you come across one of those. I don't care if the book says it can be acquired by villagers and mob drops that. But why doesn't it say it can be found in dungeons? I walked around for the next 20 minutes and killed every cow and horse I could find until I had enough leather for a full set of leather armor and displayed it next to my gold and iron sets. Thank goodness I'm now protected from being hit by chicken eggs. Did that actually used to be a thing? I've been playing this game for as long as I can remember and I don't remember eggs ever dealing damage. Also, snowballs dealing damage was a myth, right? There were a few other armor tips such as dyeing your leather armor, which I did. I still mourn Pocket Edition dye in cauldrons, however. I wasn't going to bother with the mob head because you need to charge creeper for that, but I came back from being AFK and spotted one that had been struck by lightning while I was away and used it to collect a skeleton skull. Right, let's get ahead in the book again to enchanting. Now I don't have 2 diamond chest plates that can put together to make a new one, so we're going to use an iron one instead. Isn't that pretty? For some reason the book doesn't inform me to place bookshelves around the enchanting table, but unfortunately I know how to do that, so... Wait, the middle slot on an anvil is called the sacrifice slot? I wonder how much Notch paid the guy who came up with that. Once I was done enchanting, I've made it my mission to find a village in order to trade with the villagers. I never realized that this villager wasn't just called the blacksmith and there were actually 3 different types. The armorer, the weaponsmith, and the toolsmith. For some reason there was no mention of the librarian or the cleric in this book. I know in it was when added to after this book had come out. While I'm browsing these villagers' stock, why are these pages torn? The condition said very good and no tears. I want my £3 back. Now the goal here is to take out 2 bosses, the Wither and the Ender Dragon, but in order to do that we're gonna have to train. Luckily we have a list of every hostile mob, their stats and their weaknesses, so before we take on either of those big monsters we'll have to start with the smaller ones. I will try to go in order, but this book isn't exactly written like that. We start with the spider spider where I got to higher ground to prevent it from jumping up to my level so I could repeatedly hit it. Next was the cave spider, which I had actually encountered earlier in a mine shaft and went straight to the source. I got lucky by finding a slime in the wild without a full moon, but spent an absurd amount of time which I originally wouldn't have committed to in leading it to a lava pool which I hadn't previously located. However, this is the way Mojang intended slimes to be killed. Remember to always attack a creeper with a bow and arrow before even thinking of melee weapons. I definitely always do that and don't just hold up my shield and tank the explosion. Same with the skeleton. I lured a zombie into sunlight and guess what? It didn't last long. I happened to actually come across a witch and used my bow to take out. Imagine if I had gotten closer to me and I was in range of its potions. Question for you Minecraft veterans. Do you remember how back in the day people used to say endermen spawn mainly in deserts, so we'd all hang around deserts for hours looking for endermen? Was that true or just a myth that somehow spread all across the whole community? Guardians. We'll come back to that. I had one ender pearl and I had to use it to complete this stupid page on the endermite. I'm surprised endermites actually existed when this book came out. Still feel quite new to me. I'm also surprised the endermite spawned on the first pearl. We're still missing the silverfish, but we'll deal with them later. Phew, this is getting tough. I think I'm gonna need some backup. But how? That's it! The utility mobs. The book also gives you a list of the most useful combat mobs because these are the most useful ever. We begin with the iron golem. To craft an iron golem, you need to place 4 blocks of iron with a pumpkin or a jack-o'-lantern on top. Hey guys, why doesn't my pumpkin have a face? I guess we're gonna have to use a jack-o'-lantern. Okay, snow golem, take out my enemies. For all the chaos, I needed some loyal companions to follow me around and help scare away hostile mobs. Therefore, I tamed a wolf and I tamed an ocelot because that's something you can still do. Okay, I'm way too powerful for this world. Handbook, please take me somewhere else. If I obtain a minimum of 10 obsidian, I can build a nether portal to go to the hellish dimension. No, really, that's what it says. It's hellish. Before I went into the portal, I gathered several stacks of cobblestone to create safe paths and a barrier to protect my portal. You want me to hook a ghost with a fishing rod and then stab it instead of just shooting it with a bow? I mean, that's a great idea. Obviously the best way to defeat a ghost. If you hit a magma cube while it's in the air, you might be able to knock it off a ledge. Ledge, they say. Ow! Blaze. Drink a potion of fire resistance to protect yourself. But, you haven't told me how to brew potions yet! I did bring some snowballs next time to weaken them. Even though this is my first time playing the game, I had no idea about any of the mechanics. I decided to forego the tip of going into a 2-block high space and just spend the next several hours killing wither skeletons in order to get the wither skulls I need. So let me tell you, it was so frustrating. It's been so long since I've been a wither in survival that I completely forgot how long it takes to get the materials. Ah! Give me a skull! Please! I've been in here for so long! Eventually I got them all. Yes! Zombie pigman? What's that? I've never encountered a zombie pigman before. Excuse me, Mr. Zombie Piglin. Have you ever heard of a zombie pigman before? I can't seem to find one. I'm actually quite disappointed in Mojang for not taking the opportunity to help players sleep in a bed in the Nether.
Year 7 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.
It would have honestly been so #pranked. Let's skip ahead a little before we cycle back. Brewing and enchanting should have been at the front of the book before the mobs. I needed some healing, regeneration, strength and harming potions if I was ever to defeat the wither. Now for healing potions I needed glistening melons, so I trekked the overworld till I found a jungle and picked a couple of them. Managed to get 2 ghost tears in the nether which I will use for regeneration. I can spare some blaze powder for strength. And lastly harming potions. I need fermented spider eyes for those which require brown mushrooms. Can't remember how I got these but thank goodness I do because it already took me half an hour to find that jungle. Potions? Check. Center weapons? Check. No golem materials? Check. Now according to the handbook you need to spawn the wither in a confined space underground to keep it away from belongings. These days you just spawn it in a room full of bees and let them deal with it. I'm just gonna let the fight play out. Oh, thank goodness. Now it's time to turn my attention back to the Guardians I mentioned earlier. If only I'd bought the original handbook, then I wouldn't have had to deal with this nonsense. I'd come across an ocean temple in my travels earlier and jotted down the coordinates so I could go back to it. Time to craft some doors so I can breathe underwater. Time to brew some water breathing potions so I can breathe underwater. Did you know that the correct way to defeat a guardian is the same as the ghost, where I'm supposed to pull it with a fishing rod? I wonder what the meeting in Mojang HQ was like when they started discussing how to take these dummies out. Kept drinking milk and swimming around rooms trying to locate one of the 3 elder guardians. I only needed to kill one, so my job wouldn't be too difficult. Unfortunately, when I found one, I forgot to read the warning not to get too close, but I survived long enough to stick my sword deep into its eye. Luckily, I didn't deplete all my resources on the wither fight, and therefore I had a few things left over to tackle the ender dragon. But to fight the dragon, I needed to get to the end, and to get to the end, I need to find the end portal. But this isn't 1.16. Well, I mean it is. Well, it isn't. Well, I forget it, you know what I mean. The Nether didn't contain warped forests when this book was released, and so hunting endermen there or trading with piglins was off the table. However, do you remember what I said earlier about endermen spawning in the desert? This is riveting. I spent the next couple of days wandering around slaying endermen until I had 12 ender pearls. Yeah, I know normally people don't collect 12, but you never know. Your eyes may break on the way to the portal, and you may not have any pre-filled. Once I was sure I had located the portal, I began digging a tunnel down underground. The book made sure to remind me of Minecraft's #1 rule: never dig straight down. Oh, when I got there, I took care of my silverfish problem. My portal already had 3 eyes inserted. Before I place these eyes in the hole, can I just mention this image here? That is clearly a broken portal. One of the frames is sideways, yet the portal is still activated. You think that part of the updated edition would be that they managed to fix that image? Putting these inconsistencies aside, at least trying to, I placed the eyes in and jumped in. Now the attack method doesn't mention dragon breath, so I'm assuming that Jean learned that ability after this book was released. Not vulnerable to much, but it does have a top secret drop. I wonder what it is. It gave me the speedrunner's tactic of blowing up with beds, however. The handbook says I have to shoot the crystals with arrows, eggs, or snowballs, but it fails to mention the fact that there are caged crystals. Kinda a big thing to know for new players back in 2014 or whenever this book was released. I kept chucking my eggs at it, and when they totally hit the crystals, I focused my attention on the dragon. It told me to keep shooting arrows at it, but I completely forgot that at some point after the handbook came out, they updated the game to make it so that dragons were immune to arrows when perching. I actually did it! I defeated the Ender Dragon using the Combat Handbook! A little outdated, but it worked. Here is a secret drop not many players know about: an Ender Dragon egg. Unfortunately for me, it's not mentioned how to pick this thing up, so I'm just gonna have to leave it in the end. Well, let's end the game. The end poem. I love this. But wait, this video isn't over yet. Being the Ender Dragon may be the normal way to beat Minecraft, but not according to the Minecraft Construction Handbook Updated Edition it isn't. To beat the game, you must have mastered multiplayer PvP. I don't know why this game assumes I have people to play with, but we're gonna do it anyway. There are 2 types of PvP: organized and unorganized. Organized PvP is when you have chosen to partake in a battle, whereas unorganized PvP is when you are attacked unexpectedly. You have to master both if you ever want to pass the test of the Combat Handbook. Paul Souls Jr. has given us some tips on how to play. Does the guy still upload, or has he vanished like every other Minecraft YouTuber? Oh, he does still upload. Anyway, if I want to play online, I need to make sure I have a Wi-Fi connection. Speaking of Xbox Live, I will never forgive Xbox for tricking the whole world into paying to play online, and now every console requires you to pay a subscription to do so. This is why I switched to Steam. As I was saying before my little ramble, there are a few ways for me to PvP. I could start my own private server, or open a LAN world. I got all the items on the checklist ready, but no one joined, so moving on to plan B. We're joining a dedicated server. It's so easy a zombie pigman could do it. Now let's revise our battle strategy. First thing I need to do is craft a map to keep track of player locations. I was about to say that these smaller maps weren't a thing when the handbook released, but then remember that they were. The only reason I didn't know about them was because I started off on console edition with world borders and zoomed out maps. I needed a suitable spot for a base, such as a sky base or an underground base, as they're the most difficult for opponents to locate. Obsidian is the best for building your base out of, remember. If you pick off enemies one by one, it's much easier than engaging multiple players at the same time. You can trick them by pushing them into water, keeping weapons hidden to lure them into a false sense of security, sprint hitting, using potions, placing cobwebs in their path to slow them down, or building pillars of dirt to avoid any kind of attack. Make sure to only keep a sword in one hotbar slot and mushroom stew in the other 8. This is actually still kind of a thing on kit PvP servers. Now it's time to take a page out of the construction handbook and build some defensive structures. Here we have the this fort battleground built by Fire UK. Does this guy still upload? No, he doesn't. Anyway, it didn't look too complicated to build, so I went for it. Fort is fortified with dispensers filled with arrows. They're on the second level of the tower facing the entrance with pressure plates behind to activate them. There's all sand in the ground to slow players down in open areas, but as a skilled player I can jump over it and dodge it. Usually castles have moats filled with water, but where's the fun in that? Let's fill the moat with lava instead. Unfortunately the handbook demands it be spread out lava, or I can just do a cactus moat instead. This is a good fort for me when I go PvPing. The next thing the handbook teaches me to do is how to build traps. These are provided to us by CNB Minecraft, who also do not upload anymore. We start with a regular doorway which is dug down at the entrance by at least 20 blocks. I then cleared a 4x2x3 block space to the side of the door for the redstone. I placed 2 sticky pistons with stone bricks on them with a redstone torch and dust activating them. I then placed another piston behind this blue wool with a piece of redstone dust behind it. Of course this is visible, so we're going to need to build a house to cover up the redstone. Next person to go into this building is going to fall to their death. Unfortunately the trap is only a one-time use because it destroys the redstone keeping it together. Second trap is an exploding tree. Quite a simple one. Choose any tree you find laying around and dig a 5x5x2 hole underneath it. Place a single piece of redstone dust underneath the bark. Because we're on 1.26 now, make sure the redstone dust is turned on. Place 4 blue wool surrounding the dust and a lever switch to on under the tree. Then place 4 redstone torches on the blue wool. They should already be switched off. And surround each corner in TNT. Once you've covered the hole, the next person to break the bottom of the tree will be none the wiser. To be honest, this would actually still be quite a useful trap these days too. I actually learned something useful. We have one last trap to build. TNB Minecraft did not provide this one, which is a TNT cannon. I had my doubts about this one because since this handbook release, TNT has gone through a lot of changes with a lot of contraptions breaking, but I remain optimistic. You build a U-shape 6 blocks long and 3 blocks wide with redstone on the top. Then place 4 lime blocks over the center, a lime block on one side with a redstone on top and a red block with a redstone torch on top. Place wool in this pattern to represent each setting of the cannon and a ladder on the side to prevent the inevitable water leak. Then place a slab at the side of this red block with 4 dispensers next to it. Redstone dust on the top of the dispensers, 5 repeaters on the top of the wool, and place a bucket of water right here to flow down the middle. Place slabs here to keep in place a projectile dispenser. Place buttons on each of the dark wool. White launches the TNTs furthest and black the closest. Fill each dispenser with TNT and we're ready for a test to go. Make sure you don't place TNT beforehand because then your cannon could blow up. Okay. 3, 2, 1, fire! It worked! Let's try the other settings. Nice. Maybe I'll try to make it look a bit more menacing though. There are only 3 more things to go through. Firstly, how to build an epic base. I have been given some tips on how to build a proper base. This isn't the construction handbook, so I don't need to go through it in lengthy detail, but I will tell you what I did. Location of the base needs to be at the top of the hill to avoid enemies being able to get up to you easily. Materials such as nether brick tells enemies you've survived the harsh reality of the nether, and that'll scare them away because only 1 in 100,000 Minecraft players have been to the nether. That is a true fact, and anyone who argues is a liar. Flaming netherrack is also a good intimidation tactic. Use lava wherever you can. I made this creeper face with it. Instead of windows, use iron bars for better security. And lastly, if you want, add the long drop trap that was mentioned earlier. Although you may need another way to access the base if you do that. Secondly, we need to know how to raid a base. Timing, attack at night. Darkness is your friend. Recon. Observe the area to see what your advantages are. Tag team. Kindly ask a friend to help you. Tools. Take the strongest tools you can. Enchanted diamond pickaxes will help you get through the base real quick. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Lure some creepers to their front door to basically blow them up if they try to go outside. Make sure to bring splash potions and lots of food to keep your health up and theirs low. You are now an expert in raiding bases. And last but not least, testing your skills on a custom map built by Fire UK. I am not recreating that, and this is basically how to survive Hunger Games, so I think we're moving on. Wait, the end was already in console edition by this point. Did they forget to update this thing when they brought out the updated edition? Well, now that I've learned all about how to PvP, I must be a master at it. Let's give it a go going up against some real players. Well, I've now mastered all forms of combat thanks to the Minecraft Combat Handbook Updated Edition. If any pros out there want to challenge me to a PvP battle, hit me up. But for now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. Let me know in the comments which handbook you'd like me to tackle next, beginners or redstone. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna go beat up a defenseless noob.